Okay, welcome to No Tags, live at 180. I'm Tom Lee.
I'm Chal Ravens.
And yeah, we run a music and culture podcast together called No Tags. I expect some people are familiar, some people maybe aren't and have come through the 180 route. It's a podcast we've been running for about 2.5 years now. Does what it says in the tin. It's about underground music, underground culture. It's typically interview-based. We also have 2 books out that collect the best interviews from the podcast. This is the first in a intimate kind of series of listening sessions here in this room. Every time we're going to be joined by a pair of DJs, musicians, artists we admire. The aim is to get to know them, maybe get to know the relationship between them a little bit better via the records they bring, and hopefully just hear some great music in this beautiful room. So, today we're joined by Parris and Call Super. So I think in the spirit of things, it'd actually be great if you just quickly introduced yourselves, but also gave us a quick intro on how you met, how you've come to run your record label together, how you built this connection. Yeah.
Sure. So my name is Devon. My artist name is Parris. And DJ and producer who grew up in London. And introduce yourself.
I'm Joseph. I make music as Call Super. I also grew up in London.
We met, I think it was actually through the first time we started talking was actually online through Twitter, when people used to use Twitter, back in the days. And then through that, we used to chat, exchange music. And then we obviously, when Joe used to live in Berlin, I went over one time, messaged him to tell him that I was coming over. We ended up hanging out. And then over time, we kind of developed a friendship. And through developing that friendship and sharing music with each other, I, at a certain point, asked Joe if he'd like to write music together. He was happy to. He said yes. We ended up working on 2 tracks together, which became our first 12. One track called Chiseler's Rush, the other called Magenta. And then through that, we wrote more music, which then came to another 12. And then the label we now run together called Can You Feel the Sun basically spawned out of that through more just a natural energy of first writing music together, then wanting to put out our separate music on the label, and then now in the current evolution, it's putting out other people's music too.
I just want to add actually that I just don't know what's going to happen here. Like, we haven't planned this. We don't know what they've got. So this is quite exciting. If you pull out some 25-minute Villa Lobos, then we're going to be perhaps 2 or 3 records in the session. So I'm kind of excited to see what you've got. We thought we would start by asking you to play a record for the other person that you think they would hopefully like, or that perhaps speaks to what you think they would like. So I don't know if one of you would like to go first with that.
Okay, sure.
Do you want to give us a little bit of preamble, or do you want to just put it on and then talk about it afterwards?
I can give some preamble. If I can find the record. Where is it?
Half this session is literally going to be people flicking through records, just so you know, right?
So the first one I'm going to put on is a track by Distance called Feel Me. This one came out in 2006 on his own label Chestplate, and it's what I would describe as a bit of an outlier from the time, because it's kind of this weird, kind of dark, kind of 2-steppy, dubsteppy thing, but this was at the point where dubstep was in full swing, everything was at 140. But for whatever odd reason, this A-side on this Distance record is 130 and just very different from what I would describe as a lot of the music kind of coming out at the time, basically.
Fabulous choice.
Yeah, banger.
There's a lot going on there that I feel I'm already starting to like map that onto where you two might meet in the middle. But Dwayne, why would you pick that as a tune for today?
I know Joe quite likes, I guess I've watched Joe DJ a lot over the years. And I guess it's something I could feel would maybe fit into a certain section of his DJ set, but something which he may not have come across because, you know, I know like a lot of the Hessel boys were like a big fan of that track and they used to play it, but I could imagine with Joe's history in music, it's the kind of record I would doubt he would have come across or picked up. But I also felt like it kind of fits on the vibe of maybe a certain kind of time or set, which I'd maybe imagine him playing for a club where we would have maybe played together, somewhere like the school or something.
Can we get the react?
Yeah, it was great. I said to Dwayne, it sounded like a kind of lo-fi house dubstep record. Yeah, it was, from a time when I guess there was just a bit more music that was in the grey zones between genres, and that one was...
Yeah, I think that's actually a bit of an unsung, I don't know, like historically that's something that's not recognised as much as I think it should be. It's just like how varied that era of dubstep is. I think history's kind of remembered it as this thing that was like deep Malatunes and then it goes into Casper and Rusko and then it's just like Hessel diverse from it or whatever. But like, actually, if you look at like, I mean, you said it was from 06?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think when I'd have first met you, Dwayne, but it would have been later than that, but maybe
2012, 2013 probably?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 2011-ish, and it's like, yeah. But I think we both came through listening to that kind of music, and it's like, if you pinpoint dubstep in 2006, it's like, there is Shackleton, and there is Casper and Rusko, but there's also Apple Blim, and there's Distance, and there's like early Hessel, and I think that's just like a really great example of this thing that's like, yeah, like Chal said, this is kind of like constant bass, like steppers energy to it, but it also is like, yeah, it's like a lowy, it's got that kind of lo-fi house quality as well. It's really, I always find it really funny trying to speak to people that maybe like don't DJ, or even like weren't DJing then or weren't going to club nights then, when it's like, you know, most people still playing vinyl. It's like actually like a 10 BPM difference is like massive. Like it's such a difference between like the way a club night can go if a DJ just plays like 8 to 10 BPMs lower. And obviously that's kind of eventually what would happen in like, I guess around 2009 when people started bringing funky and that sort of stuff into their sets. But Joe, it'd be great to have your pick.
I'm trying to think what game show this has reminded me of.
I was trying to think. I had the same thought. I was like, this feels like I don't know, it's like DJ Blind Date or something.
Or it's sort of like the segment on This Morning or something. Which is quite us.
Does that make me Eamon Holmes?
Yeah.
Great. I think he's loosely disgraced at this point.
They all are.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah, absolute banger. What was that?
So that is the Borderline Insanity dub mix of Flame by Crustacean, and it's done
None of those words mean anything to me for the record.
So
a bit of context would be great.
Yeah, so it was done by John Ciafone, who was in Mood to Swing.
Oh, right.
And
that makes sense. The bass line is so... It's not that far away from an Ultranate bass line. It's still got the... It's like really groovy rather than just sort of...
Yeah, it was made in, I think, 96 or 97, so it's kind of long before garage, but it has a very distinct kind of UKG energy lurking in the mist. And it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't do anything. It just takes you into a place and holds you there for about 8 minutes. And a lot of what I love about dance music is that, is the fact that, you know, you have the space to really fall into something, and breakdowns and drops and all of this drama that so much dance music has actually takes me out of that. And I like stuff that's very meditative. And the first time I saw Dwayne and really connected with his approach, he was DJing at the school, and he built a set so patiently, it was flawless. And from, you know, within like 20 minutes, I was in a very, very good headspace, and I never left it. Like, nothing disrupted it for the 3 or 4 hours that you played. And I was so impressed, and that for me was like the start of a working relationship beyond a friendship. And you don't know that record, but it's a record that I can imagine you playing in that set, patiently building something that becomes slightly more intense, but not that much more intense.
That's very nice.
Some great phasing action going on as well at one point. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And like, there are lots of little shifts in that record that work on a dance floor and work really loud, but it's music that you have to kind of give something to. It doesn't just serve you what you need. It's
this set was after Deck Mantle. One year, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2018.
I was there as well. How weird is that? I think it was the first time I'd seen you. It's the first time I'd seen you play that type of set, definitely. Like, it was a house set, and it was very precision.
Yeah. I mean, as a DJ, the thing I've always enjoyed the most, I mean, I musically came out of a much more kind of bassier, dubsteppy world. And I guess when you DJ in that world, it's very much an hour, and you just hit hard for an hour. And I never really felt like I'd really fitted into that, even when I was doing it. So when I did my first Trilogy record, that record had actually shifted my bookings away from that world and into a much more house and techno world, where all of a sudden I'm now playing 2 or 3 hours. So I had to learn how to do these longer, much more patient sets. And actually I enjoyed it a lot more. And I guess it's the fact is I've never seen myself as a banger of a DJ, or like that kind of DJ who can play the big tunes. But I've always kind of quite liked the idea of making your own big tunes. And I've always quite liked the idea of, you know, if I've got you for 2 hours and I trust you as a crowd, we're going to build together. Now, if I just hammer you with just big tunes for 3 hours, it's just going to exhaust you, and it's just not really good in anyone's ears. But it's the patient approach of, if you trust me, I'll give you what you want, but trust me to get there in a way which we all get there together and we've built into it, rather than, you know, it's like a reward, basically.
Can you tell us something about times that you've played together, back to back? I'm kind of interested in how easily your collections gel, or if there are are there any zones that you wouldn't stray into together, no-go zones, sort of?
No, not really. We've played together for nearly 6 years now, on and off. And I feel like we both have enough range musically to kind of go wherever we feel works that night, basically.
Yeah, I like playing lots of different music, and I feel like Dwayne has quite a different background to me, but he brings, you know, all of that just in a slightly different way. And it's quite nice also when you play with someone to think, oh, maybe this is not their territory. Let's see what happens. And if it's really not, then we can go back.
Next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
The next segment is called One More Tune. And we wanted tracks that you would play at the end of the night, basically. And I think that this is a special... I guess it's not that often that you would get to do that, right? Like, you don't always close the set. You don't always get the opportunity to have that extra one track. And I've heard people play such unusual and special and non-dance music records. So I thought maybe you could give us an example of a one more tune.
You go first this time.
Let's see.
See, it's got segments. It is like telly.
Yeah.
No prizes though.
Yeah. No. Oh, could have done prizes.
We should have
Like
had
a call-in.
prizes.
Someone in the building can sort
Mr.
something out, I'm
Frick,
sure.
What I'll give you since you've asked is all my time together. Take the rugged sunny days, the warm and rocky weather. Take the roads that I have walked along, looking for tomorrow's time, peace of mind. As my life spills into yours, changing with the hours, filling up the world with time, turning time to flowers. I can show you all the songs that I never sang to one man before. We have seen a million stones lying by the water. You have climbed the hills with me to the mountain shelter. Taken off the days one by one, setting them to breathe in the sun. Take the lilies and the lace from the days of childhood, all the willow winding paths leading up and outward. This is what I give. This is what I ask you for. Nothing more.
That was Judy Collins, and Since You Asked, which I really like the title of it as like last tune. And I just think every line in there has a beautiful resonance for what you want someone to take on from the club and what you've just been through together. And I do get to close quite a lot of nights, I feel like, and I always like to play a track which is so definitively the last song. There's no doubt here, and people can kind of sink into it and take something away from it. And I think, I have quite a nice little selection of those kinds of songs, and I think that kind of typifies them.
Is that actually a crate of its own in your mind, like last tunes?
Definitely.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know just quickly where you first encountered that song.
I started listening to Judy Collins through, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I had been buying. Initially, I got quite into a kind of, in the 70s, there was a big, predominantly lesbian folk movement in America. And a lot of the artwork on those records is, I feel like there's a real parallel to the kind of DIY artwork of Jamaican records, and yeah, you know, coming from a completely different place. And I remember being in a record shop and seeing one of these records. This is not from that ilk, but it was a kind of gateway into much more folky listening habits. And yeah, I carried on from there. And Julie Collins is actually quite big. I mean, if anyone's into folk music, like that isn't a particularly deep cut, but she's one of my favourites.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Dwayne.
Yes.
One more tune.
White lines, pretty baby tattoos. Don't know what they mean. They're special just for you. White lines, baking powder on the stove. Cooking up a dream, turning diamonds into snow. I feel you, pretty baby, feel me. Turn it up high, loving you is free. I like it down way low. But you already know that, you already know. Come on down to Florida, I got something for ya. We could see the kilos or the keys, baby, oh yeah. Guns in the summertime, chica cherry cola lime. Prison isn't nothing to me if you'll be by my side. And all the dope fiends, Soda in my mouth and gold hoops. You like your little baby, like your drinks cool. White lines, pretty daddy gold skin. You snort it like a champ, let the winner in. Come on down to Florida, I got something for ya. We could see the kilos or the keys, baby, oh yeah. Guns in the summertime, chica cherry cola lime. Prison isn't nothing to me if you'll be by my side. And all the dope fiends, we could get high in Miami, ooh, dance that night away. People never die in Miami, ooh, that's what they all say. You believe me, don't you, baby? Come on down to Florida, I got something for ya. We could see the kilos or the keys, baby, oh yeah. Guns in the summertime, chica cherry cola lime. Prison don't mean nothing to me if you'll be by my side. All the Floridians like all the Colombians like and all my girlfriends that's how we do it, pretty baby. White lines, pretty baby. Gold teeth, pretty baby. Dance that night away.
So I know she's a big artist for you.
Yeah.
I feel like I may have even seen you play Lana in a club before.
Maybe.
Certainly heard you on radio.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell us about it. Tell us about your LDR fandom.
Yeah, I guess being a big fan of Lana Del Rey from, I guess, the first album of Born to Die, always kind of kept into the music. Got to watch her for the first time live, I think it was last year or the year before, when she did Hyde Park in Glastonbury. That was last year. But I always felt like with her music, she's very good at creating an image. And it's just very visual. And it's that like, and it also kind of has that patience to it. But that track just kind of has this like, it's interesting because it's like, we can exist in this hedonism, but I still love you. And that line when it talks about like, even if you go to prison, I'll be there by your side. It's like, yes, we're going to live this hedonistic lifestyle and it's risky, but you know, I'll still be there for you. There's that kind of quite like living in excess, but also I still love you at the end of it, you know. I just quite like, you know, how many pop stars would write a tune about that, you know.
I mean, I think devotion's like a through line in like all her music pretty much. I mean, I think we talked about this on the pod before, but the thing about Lana is like, she's just honed this thing for so long at this point and like kind of chiseled away at this aesthetic and this sound and just like kind of got better and better at it. And I think another point we've made on the pod is like, I think there's a tendency in the way people engage with like, all music, I guess, to put like a value on scarcity. And actually it's quite refreshing that she kind of just puts an album out every year and a half or so. You know, like she's actually super, super consistent.
I mean that is an interesting thing as well when you say about like kind of doing the same thing, because I guess there was that interview with Pusha T where he was just like, I've basically been repackaging the same thing again and again for like many, many years. But there's even a part of me which has also felt like, as an artist, I've kind of really been doing the same thing for like 10 years. I've just repackaged it at every point. And I guess that also happens when you come upon like your own distinct sound. And I think the thing why I always connected with Joe's music very well, and the thing which I think also comes out of the UK music scene, is having a sense of uniqueness, a sense of, you know, sonic distinction. So it's like you work really hard to really kind of have maybe a sound palette which is just yours, and then you kind of dig into that, but you kind of, you know, you've obviously got the same 4 ideas or 5 ideas, but as you get better at producing music, the ideas get better. So they do sound different, but it's kind of effectively the same thing. And it's that kind of thing with her where it's like, she's done the same thing, but as she's gotten further, it's gotten better. And, you know, the world, it's about trying to expand it in a very narrow range, which is yours, rather than trying to do loads of different things, basically.
An inspiration to us all.
Yeah, exactly. Next section?
Next section?
Okay, next section is the afters. I mean, the brief's pretty self-explanatory, but you can take that however you will. This could be something that means a lot from a particular afters experience. It could just be something you want to play when you want to kick the last person out of your apartment at 7 a.m. So, yeah, maybe Dwayne, you go first this time.
think that was the most after-party record I've ever heard.
What you really want from an afters record is for it to feel like no time is passing.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, it's only been an hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, that one is low-key track entitled Channel to Channel. I mean, for me, for an afters, I love like even minimal tech house because I'm just like, I want nothing to happen. Because I just feel like you don't want to really be engaged, you just want something to help you sink into the mood of the vibe of the night or the energy. So that stuff is perfect because I'm just like, I don't have to concentrate, it's not trying to grab my ear, it's just leaving me alone, but it's really serene. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's just like...
So right.
When's it from?
This is actually a repress, so Palace Vinyl repressed it, but the original came out in, I think it says 1998.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So I think it was originally on, one of the tracks features on Craig Richards' first Fabric CD.
Ah,
So
okay.
so it's from quite a while ago. And then so Palace Vinyl obviously managed to get the masters and repress it a couple years ago, and I managed to grab a copy. But yeah, that's the kind of energy I'm always, because I remember being at an afters one time and someone tried to play something like Aphex Twin and I was just like, please no.
No.
I was like, this is just too much thinking. I just need...
The drums can't be that complicated.
No melody, no, just like, keep it simple.
Joe, have you got anything less?
Yeah, I mean, everything's very long. I'm not going to play the entirety of... I'll play this one because I think...
Test us.
This is an archetype.
We did have a moment where we saw it was a white label and like, could this be one of Dwayne's tunes?
Yeah,
and I thought
it's
that
funny.
would be a real afters move, wouldn't it? Like, guys.
Yeah. They're here, they can't leave.
So then you're after, it's just like putting the aux cable, I was going to put one of my tunes.
I genuinely once put my foot in it at an afters where, I'm not going to say the producer, but they were playing like really hard dubstep at an afters and I was like, come on, like, not really in the mood for this. And they were like, this is one of mine. And I was like, I stand by it.
please introduce.
Yeah.
That's a record called Mini Moon Star by Villa Lobos, who I think is the human embodiment of the after party. And that's maybe it's a contested type feel, but maybe my favourite of his records. I think there's a big thing in his work that I don't feel gets ever talked about is the influence of krautrock, and the kind of choral parts in that really remind me of Harmonia and bands that came out of Germany in the 70s, and he would declare that a huge influence, but somehow he's never seen in a lineage that connects to that in any way. But I think that is a record that brings out some of that.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't think you'd necessarily think of that immediately about him either, but in fact, everything he does is so amusing, and he is amused, and that's part of it. It's fun in a weird way, even though it doesn't shout about that, it just is.
Yeah, he has sometimes talked about parenting as being something that connects him very deeply to the eternal place of play, which is how we should all live all the time, in a playful state. And that children, and the way children think and put things together, is totally the kind of highest form of art, and in that it totally connects to Picasso's attempt to spend his life drawing like a child.
Producing like a child.
Producing like a child, and approaching everything like a child.
Okay, we'll get through a couple more. We thought maybe, though, we would just ask a bit about, well, we're in this room that's a sort of monument to analogue and physical objects and media, and I think this chimes with both of you, different ways, but especially, Joe, at the moment, you have put a lot of effort into a new project that's incredibly analogue and getting away from some of the more, I guess, immaterial systems that seem to shape dance music and music generally these days. So I would love to know a bit about what you're working on and how that might relate to this idea of analogue objects, maybe even like analogue encounters, if you like, or analogue interactions.
Yeah, I think, one's job as, there's a side of me that sees myself as a DJ, and I have that life, but I think the side that I spend most of my week thinking about is that of a producer and someone who writes music and, just tries to engage with the world creatively. And the medium through which I have to kind of communicate that for most of my life has been online, and the level of, the effort that I have to make to kind of get into that and do it has become more and more and more over the years. And so I spent the last few years just thinking about ways I could actually just do the things I want to do and not have to engage with so much of that. And I think I recognized quite early on in my career that I didn't want to have something where I was constantly chasing more. I wanted to get to a place I felt comfortable with, if I could, and then try and maintain it. And I think now that for me is making things that I want to make, and hopefully being able to share them with people. And so yeah, I've kind of spent the last year trying to put together like a 80s style fan club, and have something where people can receive things I make, be it drawings or CDs or T-shirts, or the thing I've just currently finished making is a patch. So like when you sign up to become a member, you actually get like a membership patch, and the patch can change every year. Anyway, just Yeah, I think coming back to what we were just saying, like, I want all of my work, if I can, for it just to be stuff that I find playful and creative and isn't like leaving me thinking like, how do I engage with like more people in a way that actually I find less meaningful?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you use the phrase pre-internet fan club, which is definitely distinct. I mean, we're not even really quite old enough for that in a way. I mean, it's more of like a memory of what
I
was
had
before
so much
us,
fun
isn't it?
reading about, like just crazy stuff that the fan clubs around Dracula generated so much literature written by, like made up vampire literature, that there is now a library in Prague or somewhere that's one of the biggest libraries in the world, and it only houses fan fiction around Dracula. And this is obviously like, now setting something up like this, it has to be mediated a little bit through the internet and through a website. But I hope that's the only portal that exists online for it, and everything else is done off it. And yeah, it was a huge kind of part of the way people engaged with what they loved pre-internet. The internet's done amazing things. This isn't like I'm not a kind of a Luddite in that, but I just have to recognise my own limits with what I can kind of handle, and maybe try and do things in a way that's healthier for me.
Were you ever in a fan club?
No, I think I am somehow. I mean,
I was really hoping there'd be something desperately embarrassing.
I wish I was. I wish I was. I also felt I was such a serious kid, as in a way that like I would have loved it.
Right.
I just wasn't. Sadly.
All the correspondence.
Hopefully,
very
people will
sort of
start
official.
up loads of fan clubs. In the next 10 years, I can join them.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Were you ever in a fan club?
I don't think so. I was just trying to wrap my brains for that. I don't think so. I was actually just musing on just if we did, just thinking of libraries of vampire literature and how big a library would be if it was just printed off Twilight fan fiction, because I imagine you could fill an entire continent.
Come on, tell us. What were you in?
Spice Girls. It's obvious. I do still have my membership card, which has like me with my name written in bubble writing, which I'm quite proud to still have. Yeah.
Wow. Dwayne?
I wasn't in any fan club, sadly, but I do agree with the point that, trying to keep that like childish nature, which is the thing I've always tried to always keep in my music, a sense of lightness. I've always felt, as I've become older, I felt like I'm quite lucky that I've managed to make a life out of career, and to have a career which has allowed me to keep that aspect of myself and keep that aspect of my life and keep that level of like whimsical creativity and be able to explore these things. And I kind of realized that as you get older, as a kid, you're encouraged to explore these things at all times, create these imaginative worlds. And as you get older, people go, no, that's not part of the real world. So you need to stop doing those things. And you eventually, as you get, by the time you reach the real world or getting a job, that's normally kind of taken out of you because you have a kid or you have a family or you have a full-time job and there's no time to be imaginative anymore, because where is the space to have that when the real world is hitting you left, right and centre,
Or you have the thing where the minute anyone has a hobby now, you should monetize that.
Yeah.
That's
actually
very millennial.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry? That's kind of what we're doing,
okay.
sorry. If you look at, ancient societies, olden societies, it's like completely normalised for someone to play an instrument, to write whatever, right, to paint. And it's like that was just seen as a part of your personality, a part of your day-to-day, rather than being something that had to become a side hustle.
But I mean, also, like, we're just in a place economically where we have to try and monetize everything we do because it's hard.
You can both choose a track with a very complicated segment. This is just a record that you would like to hear on this system.
Yes.
I was interested if you felt like anything you'd played so far sounded any different to how you remembered it, or if there was something about being in this room that had changed it, because...
No, I guess it's just interesting to hear it in terms of like listening, because when you put records, I very rarely just put records on to just kind of like listen to them. I normally just bang it on the computer, innit? So to actually just put, because it's easy. It's just like, obviously I'm like my studio PC, I'm just sitting there a lot of the time. So it's just easy to be like, YouTube. Do you get what I mean?
I did think that Lana Del Rey sounded not exactly different, but it's produced in such a different way to the other records that you've brought. I think and you can really hear that, you know, it's partly like a sort of Ariel Pink record or something, and then also incredibly pop sharp, you know, compressed, and that really comes through.
Yeah, I thought the Villa Lobos sounded great as well, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That was really...
But please, what would you like?
Cool. Yeah, that one is Wet Leg, Davina McCall. One of my favourite bands at the moment. Really enjoyed the new album. We also watched them at Glastonbury this year. I thought they were one of the best bands I watched at Glastonbury. Really enjoyed them. Just really strong stage presence, great sound. And just, yeah, really been enjoying what they've been doing. So I just thought it'd be nice to have something which felt a bit newer to finish, but also, yeah, a record I've just really been enjoying.
It's a great recording.
It's just so pristine.
Sounds amazing, yeah. Everything just fits together. Davina McCall for Tagneast is Alfie from No Tags' teenage crush.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Really liked that. Good choice. Thank you. Yeah.
Have we got time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Quickly.
Please to take away your
I'll take away your
blood lug.
Didn't want it to seep into the next thing. That was Arvo Pat and Gesunder, the variations for Gesunder von Anushka. And it's one of his shortest pieces. I wanted to hear something that was written for a single instrument and had a little bit more space in it. I mean, what is there to say about Arvo Part?
Is it in a film at all? Because some of his music would...
I've never seen it in a film.
It has that sort of...
But it's very
as
film.
it resolves, it feels like something narrative almost. You know,
Yes.
It goes from being so abstract and...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, obviously, like Spiegel im Spiegel has been probably used in countless films for Lena. Those are two of his very well-known pieces. But as a musician, you have to remind yourself periodically about simplicity, and you have to go back to people like Arvo Part, who are the masters of simplicity and space. And
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, great one to sign out on.
Would you like to tell us about anything that you have coming up?
Do you know what? Yeah, I'll have a new record out in the next couple of months. So, yeah, I'll be looking forward to sharing that soon. which would be quite nice. Yeah. So yeah, it should be out in May, hopefully. All things going to plan.
It's not always how it works.
Exactly.
Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and listening
thank you so much,
so intently.
Huge thanks to Parris and Call Super.